All right, welcome. This is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Um, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Um, let's go ahead and go over this. We're gonna go ahead and talk about some of the possible head coaching candidates to replace Doug Peterson in that head coaching vacancy for the Philadelphia Eagles. And there are quite a few names. There are quite a few names that I'm excited about. Quite a few names that do intrigue me. First and foremost, the first one is the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. Obviously that's number one on the list just because of the pedigree and the flair, I guess, that comes along with his name and that comes along with coaching for a team like that. And coming from the Andy Reid tree, obviously there's ties there to the entire Eagles organization coming from the Andy Reid tree. Look, Eric Bieniemy, offense coordinator for head coach Andy Reid for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have had a 15-1 record, and obviously they have Patrick Mahomes over there, and their offense has been extraordinarily successful over the last few years. Now, I think Eric Bieniemy would be a great option. Obviously, I am a little bit skeptical about it. I got to be honest with you. I am a little bit skeptical about it because that is exactly the same route that we went with Doug Peterson. When we went and we hired Doug Peterson was the offense coordinator for Andy Reid at the time in Kansas City. So there is a little bit of skepticism there. And one of the other things I want to touch on with that and with the possibility of it being Eric Bieniemy is that I do believe that they do that. Just picking up from some of the things that I picked up off of Jeffrey Lurie's press conference the other day, and also Joe Banner also said this on Inside the Birds as well with Adam Kaplan and Jeff Mosher, is that he doesn't believe that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman would have gotten rid of Doug if they didn't already have anybody in mind. In fact, he'd actually be really, really shocked if they didn't have somebody in mind already. And would they be willing to wait for somebody like Eric Bieniemy? Because I believe that the Chiefs are going to go deep into the playoffs as they did last year, possibly go back to the Super Bowl as they did last year. And would the Eagles be willing to wait until that point in time to bring on a new head coach? That is yet to be seen. But I have a little bit of skepticism about Eric Bieniemy. Would I be excited about it? Would I be open to the idea? Yes, I do. I would be. I surely would. I do believe that Eric Bieniemy brings more insight to that offense than Doug Peterson did when Doug Peterson was the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid. That's just my hunch. That's just my guess. That's just what I feel. Eric Bieniemy is also one of those younger coaches. He's one of those younger guys on the rise and does a really good job. The guys in Kansas City really do respect him. So I don't think that Eric Bieniemy would be a bad idea. It's just that now that we're just coming from Doug Peterson, I do have a little bit of skepticism there. Another head coaching candidate is the current offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Now, obviously, his name Arthur Smith. Now, obviously, we're all very well aware of his work with the revitalization of Ryan Tannehill's career and the work that he's done with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry just surpassed 2,000 yards for the first time in his career this season, and he just does an overall great job with the run game there in Tennessee. And I believe that if we were to bring in a guy like Arthur Smith, it could mean that we would run the ball more. Now would that be a good thing for Carson Wentz, or would it be a good thing for Jalen Hurts? I think it would be a good thing for both. Obviously, you want to, with a run game, you want to take the pressure off the quarterback, but which quarterback would it point to us keeping around and point to us point to us anointing as the franchise quarterback moving forward. Go ahead and leave your comments in below and tell me what you think about offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and how you guys feel about him possibly becoming the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, because he does have interviews set up with Philadelphia Eagles. There are reports about that as well. Another name that's been thrown around as well is Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator for Buffalo Bills. This one I'm not too, I don't feel that bad about. The idea of bringing in the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, I don't feel that bad about Brian Daboll. He's done a phenomenal job with the development of Josh Allen. Now, me personally, I've always liked Josh Allen, even as a rookie. Even when his pass completion percentage was in the 50s. I saw a lot of potential in Josh Allen and believed that he was going to have a good career. I never had any doubts that Josh Allen was going to continue to develop. But with that said, Brian Daboll does deserve a lot of credit with the development of that offense. And they have made them, and they have turned them, and they have gotten themselves into the playoffs. Josh Allen is playing great football over the last 2 years since his rookie year. And would Brian Daboll be the type of guy who could come in and turn Carson Wentz's career around, and get Carson and fix Carson Wentz? And I think that's the big thing that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have to ask themselves is the head coach that you're going to bring in, do they have the capability to be able to fix Carson Wentz? Or do they have a high percentage rate of being able to develop Jalen Hurts? That's one thing that you got to look for. And that leads us to one that's not being talked about that much, actually, which is the quarterback's coach in Baltimore, James Urban. So he's obviously responsible for the work that he's done with Lamar Jackson, and obviously, if we have a similar guy here in Jalen Hurts, James Urban wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea, but to me, that's not somebody that I necessarily want, and the only reason for that is because of the fact that I am a Carson Wentz faithful. I want to see Carson Wentz get fixed. And that's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at with that. I want Carson Wentz to be our franchise quarterback going forward. And I want to see us fix Carson Wentz. Not saying that James Urban wouldn't do a great job with Carson Wentz, but I feel like Jalen Hurts would have the inside track there, just because of James Urban's work with Lamar Jackson. So, and obviously the next one that has been thrown around, and this one is a big one. And the only reason why this one is a big one is because the Eagles were interested in this guy to be the offensive coordinator last year. And now there are rumblings of him there were actually reports that Howie Roseman actually made a call to this person shortly after they fired Doug Peterson. And obviously, as you all probably already know, that person that I am talking about is Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley. Responsible for the college success that Jalen Hurts had, as well as Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. So if Lincoln Riley were to come to the Philadelphia Eagles and be the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe that Jalen Hurts would have the inside track. Jalen Hurts would become the starting quarterback. And we probably would get to see some good things, probably some new innovative concepts, probably some exciting concepts to bring to this offense. Would they work? The skepticism obviously lies in the fact that we've had a college coach come to Philadelphia and coach in Chip Kelly before, and we all saw how that worked out. So, Jim Caldwell is another name, but, I'm not even really going to go into that one. He was a head coach at one point for the Detroit Lions, and And I just don't see him as a head coach. If we're able to bring him in as offense coordinator, I think that would be phenomenal. But I'm going to leave him out of the head coach talk for now. I think bringing in Jim Caldwell as an offense coordinator would be absolutely outstanding, as a matter of fact. And obviously, the other big name to come out of Kansas City is quarterbacks coach Mike Kafka. That one in and of itself is gaining traction simply because Jeffrey Lurie likes to promote these assistants, and he likes to turn guys who have never been head coaches before into head coaches. And obviously, as Eagles fans, we all know Mike Kafka really well. Andy Reid drafted Mike Kafka. He was a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles for a short period of time. Andy Reid brought him on to his staff in Kansas City and has been doing some really good stuff there for the quarterbacks there. And the reports out of Kansas City are that Mike Kafka is a really smart guy. I wouldn't be completely opposed to it. I don't know if I'm ready to promote Mike Kafka to a head coaching position. I think, my thing is, and I was thinking about this a lot last night, is if there's a way we could probably get, if we could get him as offense coordinator, that would be absolutely splendid. That would be absolutely splendid. I would absolutely be so stoked for that to happen. However, the chances of that happening are probably very little to none. Reason for that being is because Bieniemy is probably going to leave. Bieniemy is probably going to get a head coaching position. And knowing Andy Reid's probably going to promote Mike Kafka to offensive coordinator. So I don't think Mike Kafka is actually going anywhere at the end of the day. So another name that's been thrown around, and the Eagles do have interviews with this guy, Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know that the San Francisco 49ers defense has done some great things in the past. I've also seen them get torched in the past. I've also seen them be inconsistent. But I do know that they are capable of doing some good things. And the truth of the matter is I don't think that they're going to hire a defensive guy. Only reason for that being is that Jeffrey Lurie hasn't hired a defensive coach to be the head coach since he hired Ray Rhodes to be the head coach in 1999. So I really don't see them hiring Robert Saleh to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles either. And another dark horse name is Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. That's another dark horse name. That's a name that we haven't heard pop up quite yet, but might. So we'll see. I'm not really that stoked. Obviously, defensive coordinator Brandon Staley does have a great. Did have a great season for his defense. First in the NFL in pass defense, 190 yards, 0.7 allowed per game, which is really phenomenal. First in the NFL in opponent big plays, which is 20 minus plus or 20 plus yards allowed, 38. First in the NFL in total defense, 281.9 yards per game. So it's pretty insane on that one. First in the NFL in scoring defense, 18.5. First in the NFL in opponent 3-and-out percentage, 27.9%. 27.9%. So that's even better than the Eagles when they went during their Super Bowl season. And second in the NFL in sacks this season, 53. Third in the NFL in rush defense, 91.3. Third in the NFL in third down defense, 35.4. 4. So, would he be a bad choice? No, I don't think so. But again, just like Brandon Salah, or just like Robert Salah, we haven't seen Jeffrey Lurie hire a defensive-minded head coach since Ray Rhodes in '99. Or 95. Sorry about that. 95. So it's up in the air. The one thing that I will say about that, though, is that if they do go with somebody like Robert Salah, he would be a phenomenal pickup. I mean, he's done a great job. That Micah Parsons, that Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons pick at number 6 becomes a lot more favorable with Robert Salah coaching this team than pretty much anybody else. So, and obviously, last but not least, our very own Deuce Staley. But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be Deuce. I feel like they would have promoted Deuce a long time ago, and they would have continued to promote Deuce a long time ago if they really wanted Deuce to leave his current post. And I just don't think that's where they want to go. I don't think that's where they want to go this from here on out. And I think that they just want to. I think they want to search for new blood. They got to bring new faces into this organization. They got to find a way to do it. They got to find a way. To find somebody who will be able to fix this quarterback situation, and somebody who will be able to be okay with the fact that we have nearly negative 70 million in cap. And in other news, Brian Schotteneimer has been fired from the Seattle Seahawks. Offensive coordinator Brian Schotteneimer. So that's another dark horse. And that was just that news released today. So that's another horse pick, and we'll continue to see how that plays out. I don't think it's going to be Brian Schottenheimer. Like Joe Banner said, and like I believe, and I do agree with him, I believe that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie already have their guy in place. And I believe it is going to either be the Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator. I believe it's either going to be Lincoln Riley, or it's going to be Brian DeBall, or Eric Bieniemy. That's what I believe. And out of those four, it's really tough. It's really tough to pick who I want. It's really tough to pick. I'm still deciding. Each one of them offers a different thing. Here's my thing. I think if we can bring Bieniemy in, or if we can bring Brian DeBall, because I would like Brian DeBall or like Arthur Smith. Thing about Arthur Smith is I just think that I don't trust that offensive scheme without Derrick Henry. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him. It's a tough one for me. That's a tough one for me. I think if either one of those three guys can bring in Jim Caldwell as our offensive coordinator, I think I'd be fine. I think I'd be completely fine. That's what I think. But with that said, this is DB talking now. DB talking birds. Tomorrow I'm going to have a list of defensive coordinators for you. Jim Caldwell right now is my leading candidate, my personal leading candidate for offensive coordinator. But tomorrow I'm going to have a list of defense coordinators that I think will be suitable for that spot for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. So This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. You guys have a beautiful, 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 beautiful Tuesday evening, and stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, baby.